Hello, my dear students and the friends. Um, Welcome to my class that is Environmental Studies. Environmental Studies is a mandatory course, is a multidisciplinary academic field which systematically studies human interaction with the environment. It is broad field of study that include the natural environment and built-in environment and the relationship between them. However, in 1991, the Supreme Court of India mandated environmental education as a compulsory subject in all school across the country, across India. And this decision came after a PIL, public interest litigation, filed by Mr. MC Mehta, an environmental lawyer and recipient of Mackesy and Goldman Award. So he wanted that we should realize that environment is never ending, though it is a never ending process, it's a never ending resources. But if we keep on spending, utilizing, exploiting the environment. So on his PIL, the court also directed the UGC to prescribe a course on the environment as a mandatory subject in college of undergraduate students. And the prime objective of the proposed online course to provide participant complete understanding of the environment. What is the environment? How realize what we are getting from the environment and how we can conserve the environment. So the course aimed to enable the students acquire practical and technical skills required for identifying and solving social problems related to the environment. And this course is very important addressing the environment and its multidimensional nature. At the end of this course, we'll be giving this course will be giving powerful insight to individual to make simple yet effective effort to help and conserve the environment. So there was a convention in 1992, United Nations Convention in Rio de Janeiro, where the first time it was realized that environment is very important, and we have to think about the environment. And not only we have to think the environment, but also we have to think about the sustainable utilization of the environment, sustainable utilization of the nature and the natural resources, so that it can be sustained. Whatever we are enjoying, we got from our ancestor, and we have to leave something for our next generation. So this course will be giving you a very strong insight or understanding about the environment and uh, its multidimensional nature, how it works for me, and what we can do for this. So basically, the word environment is derived from the French word envire. Envire means surrounding or enveloping. So whatever we have around us is the environment. And this is sum total of all external factor, conditions and influence surrounding and affecting an organism, population or community. So this environment include both living as well as non-living thing. Whatever living, I mean, we are also the part of environment. The trees are also the a part of the environment. All the creature, moving creature, non-moving creature, we all are part of the environment. So it refers to an aggregate of all conditions that affect the existence, growth, and welfare of an organism or a group of organisms. So, sum total of social, economical, biological, physical, and chemical factor which constitute the surrounding of the human. So, that is the environment. So, the environment after the Rio Convention in 1992, the government of India launched or enacted Environmental Protection Act 1996. According to Environmental Protection Act 1996, the definition of the environment is the sum total of air, water, and land. Air, water, and land, their interrelationship among themselves and with the human being, other living being, and property. So, this is the definition of the environment as per the Environmental Protection Act 1996. So we have an Act 1919, Environmental Protection Act 1996, and we have, apart from the Environment Protection Act, we have Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So both the act talks about the protection of the environment and protection of the wildlife or all the creature existing on the earth. So these are the very, very powerful act which give the power to the government to protect, and also give us the understanding to protect and conserve the natural environment. We are breathing, so the air we are getting from the environment, from the nature, we are not realizing. We realize this during the COVID period, that COVID pandemic is a lesson to all the human being to respect the environment. There are many people, many dear ones we lost, and we realize that without oxygen we cannot survive. This oxygen is coming uh, from the trees, from the environment. And when we had to buy oxygen cylinder, which, I mean, I bought, some of my friend bought oxygen cylinder for 30 to 40,000 rupees, and that lasted for 8 hours. So then that is the time when we actually, each and everyone realized, no, environment is very, very important, and we have to protect, we have to conserve each and every existing creature, existing living and non-living, biotic and abiotic component on the earth. We have to protect, we have to respect. So this course actually aims with this, and this lecture is about the environment and its multidimensional nature, definition, scope, and environment. So, environment is from the French word, that is the surrounding. In a broader context, the environment is not limited to a specific geographical area, but extend to the entire Earth and its ecosystem. It is the complex web of relationship and interdependence that shape the condition under which life exists. And the study of the environment involve understanding these relationships and how they interact, how they impact the health and well-being of living organisms, including human beings. The environment plays a crucial role in providing resources essential for life, such as clean air, water, and food, as well as habitat for diverse ecosystem. They are not, environment is not only providing us food, water, and air, water, and food, but also habitat for diverse ecosystem. So this is the environment, and there are elements of the environment. What are the elements of the environment? So the elements of the environment is the physical element, biological element, and the cultural elements. Physical elements is space, landform, water bodies, soil, rock, and mineral. This is all physical element. Biological elements are plants, animal, microorganism, and man. These are the biological elements. So we have physical element, we have biological elements, and then we have cultural elements, economic, social, and political elements, and essential man-made features. That is the cultural elements. So, and the environment can be categorized into different components. Composition of natural environment. The environment can be categorized into different components. First is the natural environment. So natural environment means the environment where we are living. Natural environment can be synonym as the habitat for us, habitat for animals, habitat for plants, habitat for microorganism. So home or habitat for each and every creature existing on the earth, that is the natural environment. So natural environment is biotic component as well as abiotic component. Biotic component means the living thing. These are living organisms including plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms and their interaction with each other. That is the biotic component. Then come to the abiotic components. So the abiotic components, these are non-living factors such as air, water, soil, sunlight, temperature, and physical features of the landscape. We are not able to see this, but actually we are being benefited by all these abiotic components. We cannot survive without the land, without the surface. We need some place to. So natural environment is often used as a synonyms of the habitat. For instance, we can say that the natural environment of cheetah is grassland. We lost cheetah. We lost cheetah because we lost the grassland, because cheetah is a fast running animal, fast running cat, and for the fast running cat we need larger space to survive. And one of the reason for the extinction of the cheetah is the habitat loss. Cheetah prefer avoid woodland while prefer the grassland. So the natural environment is often used as a synonyms of the habitat. For cheetah it's grassland, for giraffe it's a savanna. So, according to the habitat, the animal survive, animal exists. We also prefer the home. We do not stay in the jungle. We do not stay in the forest. We need a built up environment. We need a concrete jungle to stay. We need food. So everything is coming from the environment. Habitat is not only the home, but the food and shelter to protect, to sustain ourselves. That is the natural environment. So composition of the natural environment is lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. That we'll be discussing later on. So first was the natural environment. Second, natural environment we know the home, the habitat. Then built environment. Built environment is one is the natural environment. Nature is giving us, and built environment we are making for our comfort, for our sustenance, for our use. So built environment, that is the man-made environment, this include the geological and geographical aspect of surrounding. That is the built environment. So built environment, there are many factors like climate and geology, what kind of climatic conditions we are having. If it is cold climate, the cold the we will if we prefer not very cold, not very hot, or according to the climatic condition, our actions are like this only. If we are living in the extreme cold condition, we are acting same. We are trying to acclimatize ourselves according to the extreme cold condition. Or if we are living in the extreme hot, like we are living in the Aligarh, so we have uh, weather conditions like summers, winters, monsoon, and so these are the accordingly we acclimatize, accordingly we manage as per the climatic condition. We get the food. We are very close to the Gangetic plain, and we feed on, we survive on all the vegetation growing in these climatic condition. Economic. Economic is development activities apart from the climatic and geology. Whatever government is doing activities for the development, making the bridges, making the roads, that is all comes under the economic. Government, what kind of government we have, and government is always thinking about protecting the environment. This is the act is made by the government, made by the legislatures. Okay. Culture and fashion, according to the climatic condition, according to the habitat, we have cultures and fashions. There are among the cultures we can say some people worship the uh, banyan trees. Some people worship the ficus trees, the people. It is not only the worshipping, but also we are, by worshipping the trees, by worshipping the animals, we are actually encouraging people to protect. That is the way of the protection of the environment. There are sacred group, very very important. One of the very important sacred group in UP is Nidhi One. That is very close to the Vrindavan, and Nidhi One says that after the sunset, no one can enter. If somebody try to enter in that Nidhi One, it lost its senses. Either it will be dumb, deaf, blind, or something will happen. So daytime it is okay, but after the evening, people says, the people of Nidhi One says, Lord Krishna comes out with all the gopis for making the ras leelas. So no one can enter after the sunset. So it is not only the story, it is not only the culture, but also this is the way to protect the environment. And that is how we are. The every religion, every person have different ways to um, different cultural ways to protect the environment, to sustain during. We know when the holy comes, that is the time when flowers are blooming, that when then only with the onset of the winters in North India, with the onset of the winters, the Diwali comes. So these are the cultures and the fashions. Then we have technology according to the uh, condition, according to the geographical conditions, we develop the technologies. And then customers also, the one who are utilizing the resources, they are called the customer. So these are the component of the environment. Built environment means man-made. So we discuss about the natural environment, built environment, and then social environment. Social environment includes culture, languages, social conditions, health condition, living condition, economic compatibility of the people in these certain areas. So this is the social environment. In economic compatibility of the people means if you are economically strong, you are less dependent on the natural resources. If you are not, then you are dependent. Like people very close to the forests collect fuel, wood, fodder, timber. They are totally dependent on the natural resources. But if we are economically strong, we are having all the facility, we take all these things from the market. Instead of fuel wood, we have LPG cylinder. So these are the social environment. What kind of social structure you have, accordingly the we act. So we discuss about the with the three kind of three categories of nature environment: natural environment, built environment, social environment. And the question is why I should know the environment. Little bit we have discussed earlier. According to UNESCO 1971, the objective of environment studies are creating awareness about environment problem among peoples. We all should be aware about the environmental problem. Why unwanted rains are there, uncertain rains are there, why landslides. So all these things we should know. The creating awareness about environment problem among people, imparting basic knowledge about the environment and its allied problem, developing an attitude of concern for the environment, motivating public to partnership in environmental protection and environmental improvement, acquiring skills to help the concerned individual in identifying and solving environmental problems, striving to attain harmony to nature. In 1991, the Supreme Court of India mandate environmental education as a compulsory subject in all schools across the country. And then MC Mehta file, and this decision came out after the PIL filed by MC Mehta. And at the end, this course will give valuable insight into the interconnection between various ecosystem, human activities, and the planet. The understanding can empower individual to make simple yet effective effort to help and conserve the environment. So that is why we should know the environment. So, understanding and protecting the environment are essential for sustainable development and well being of all species on Earth. So, understanding as well as protection, it is very, very important for sustainable development. Environment science as a discipline focusing on studying these interactions, identifying environmental issues, and proposing solutions to mitigate the impact of human activities on the natural world. Thus, environment is actually global in nature. It is a multidisciplinary subject including physics, geography, geology, history, economics, physiology, biotech, you name anything, and that is the actually connected with the history, geography. Everything is important for to understand the what kind of landscape we have during 100 years ago and what we have right now. So history as well as geography, what kind of topography we had, now what we have. It is very important to understand all subject. It's chemistry. If you're talking about the mineral, it's chemistry, physics. If you're talking about the mines, it's physics. So every subject is very, very important, and understanding of all these things is very important. It's interdisciplinary subject. Environmental study is not an independent, but it is also involving various subjects. So, come to the scope and importance of environmental study. We have very high scopes like ecology. Ecology, understanding the interaction between living organism and environment, including the study of ecosystem, population dynamics, and community structure. That is the ecology. To understand the ecology of for example, if to understand the ecology of a species, we have to understand what kind of habitat it is living in, what kind of food the habitat give the input, what kind of food they prefer, because any animal prefer food, shelter, and escape from predator. These are the three important components for any animal to survive, to select a habitat. So to understand the ecology is very, very important for the sustainable development. Second is the biodiversity. Investigating the variety of life form on earth is biodiversity, the factor influencing it, and the importance of biodiversity for ecosystem health, reliance, and human well-being. So biodiversity is very, very important. Biodiversity means all the living um, creature on the earth is the biodiversity, whether it's kitchen garden or the forest, all comes under the biodiversity. Understanding the biodiversity and realizing the importance of the biodiversity is very important. Like when I was working with Uttaranchal, there is a tree grows at the high altitude or Himalayas, that is the Texas bacata. People, the locals were cutting because they were very far. The locals, villages were very far from the roads, and also they were totally dependent on the natural resources. So in 90s, when I started my study in high altitude Himalaya, I realized that people used to cut the Texas bacata, and they were using the Texas bacata as a fuel wood and the leaves as a fodder. The government, because science is a developing branch, every day there is a new experiment and we are discovering new things. So that time, the medical science discovered that Taxus baccata is a species which have the taxol, and taxol comes from the Taxus baccata, and this taxol is a very, very important medicine for curing the cancer. So since then, government started protecting the Taxus baccata. So each and every thing is important for our survival. We didn't know the importance of the Taxus baccata. Later on, we realized what is the importance of the Taxus baccata, and we started protecting, rather doing the plantation and all, so that we can have more and more. So biodiversity is very, very important to understand. Climate change is studying the cause, impact, and mitigation strategies of climate change, including changes in temperature, precipitation patterns, sea level, and extreme weather events. So climate change is also very, very important because of the temperature variation. The the sexes are based on the variation in the temperature. Sexes in the crocodile is based on this temperature. High temperature and low temperature decide the sexes of the crocodile. So climate change is also important. With the change of the climate, we are having new crops. With the change of the environment, we are having positive as well as the negative impacts on the environment. So we have to understand the climate change also. Pollution, examining the source, effect, and control of pollution in air, water, soil, and noise, and developing strategies to minimize and manage environmental pollution. So pollution, to understand the pollution, how pollution is being caused, what are the root cause of the pollution. Like if you go to the like this winter when I went to the Delhi, it's all smog, and it was really difficult for me to breathe, and sputum was black when I was coughing and all. So these are because of the pollution. The government is spending and trying its level best to overcome with the pollution in Delhi, but at some extent we are successful, but still we have to work a lot. We have to work a lot to overcome with the pollution, and these pollutions are creating lots of disease, lots of disorder in our life. Next is the natural resource management, sustainable management of natural resources such as water, soil, forests, fisheries, and minerals to ensure their availability for future generation. So natural resources management is very, very important, because no natural resources are never everlasting. If we will be over exploiting the natural resources, one day we will be losing the natural resources. We have to make the environmental policies and regulation to control. So, developing and implementing policies, laws, and regulation to address environmental issues, promote conservation, and guide sustainable development. So, we have to, it is very important to have some policies, some regulation to actually conserve the biodiversity, to conserve the environment, to for the better life of the human being. Renewable energy, there are renewable energy, there are non-renewable energy. These forest resources, water resources are not are renewable energy. Exploring and promoting alternative and renewable energy source to reduce reliance on non-renewable resources and mitigate environmental impact associated with energy production. So waste management, waste. Developing efficient waste management strategies to minimize the environmental impact on waste generation and disposal, including recycling and waste reduction initiative. Polythene is one of the important component, is one of the worst waste. Some are good waste, some are worse waste. So because of using one time poly bags is creating problems in the environment, choking of the nullies, choking of the drainage system, creating the environmental pollution. This is all we have to manage. We have to think, and we have to think very, very smartly so that we use less and less. Environmental education and awareness. We were talking about the polythene. So, talking polythene, if we say don't use the polythene, instead use the paper bags. If we are encouraging to use the paper bags, means we are putting pressure on the environment, on the forest to reduce, to have more and more paper. Instead of this, instead of using poly bags, instead of using paper bags, paper bags are still better than the poly bags, but we are giving pressure, we are putting pressure on the forest to have more and more this more and more papers that comes from the trees. So pressure on the trees we are creating. So instead we should carry the bags made up of the clothes, because you can wash, you can clean, and you can easily carry in the market, to always carry with yourself, to bring things from the market. So that's why we are not using paper bag, not using poly bags. So with poly bags we are overcoming with the pollution, and with paper bags we are not putting much pressure on the trees for the papers. So conservation biology, working to protect and preserve endangered species and ecosystem, and studying way to maintain biological diversity in the faces of various threats. Human environmental interaction, analyzing the complex relationship between human societies and the environment, considering the cultural, social, economic, and political dimension. Environmental monitoring and assessment, we have to keep on doing the monitoring of the environment, and we have to do the assessment so that we understand whether whatever we are having, whether it's sustainable or we have to work. So conducting systematic monitoring and assessment of environmental condition to track changes over time and identify emerging issues. And in short, if we want to manage on planet earth, we would have to make the entire population environmentally educated. And the objective of the environmental awareness should be improving the quality of the environment. We have to, main objective is the improving the quality of the environment, creating an awareness among the people on environmental problem and conservation. We just discussed about the poly bags and the paper bags, how we can come how we can overcome with these issues. So creating an awareness among the people, the correct awareness among the people. If we are encouraging them not to use poly bags, we should also encourage them not to use the paper bags, to reduce the pressure on the paper industry, to reduce the pressure on the trees. Instead, we should encourage the masses to use the bags made up of the clothes, so that you can use again and again, creating such an atmosphere as people find themselves fit enough to participate in decision making process of environmental development programs. And with this, we'll be discussing about the component of the environment. this is we just discussed about the environment, its problem, what are the components of the environment. Now in our next lecture we'll be discussing about the components of the environment. There are four components: atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. Composition of natural environment is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and the biosphere. We'll be discussing this later on in our next lecture. So thank you very much for your patience listening, and I hope with each lecture there is something to take away. There is something to think about the environment. There's something to sensitize the masses, at least the students who are attending this lecture, to for example, one example I have given: no paper, no polythene, no paper bag. Instead we should carry the cloth bag so that we can use again and again. And it's very trendy, it is in the fashion, tote bags. So these are very trendy. So with this I would like to take leave from you, and we'll be meeting in our next lecture, the component of the atmosphere. Thank you very much.